off the playing stage, you either have your chances to continue on, you go to playoffs, you get the last spot there, or your year is done.
It is. Let's see who's going to be able to take it here, as Nongshim do have the blue side. We've seen the Dplus have very much enjoyed their time on the blue side thus far, and it hasn't necessarily been all that many red side victories for this squad. I will need to double check just to make sure I know exactly what the win rate is kind of looking like. Haven't actually gotten blue side all that many times, but certainly have lost far more games on the red side so far in the play-ins. But we do see the Trundle taken away. Actually, very good safety means that Nongshim cannot first pick Trundle. And that feels fantastic. They can first pick a tank though, which I imagine she was going to be happy about, because then he doesn't have to pick a tank.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like first picking tanks probably something we see a little bit later in the draft. And it's also something to talk about as well. What sort of things you leave open with it being Fearless. I feel like the first draft,
love that,
more willing to leave things available. We've seen often, especially in best of threes, the pay or the AYP, you know, the Azir, the Yunara, the Pantheon, often being banned in game 1 and game 2, even in game 3. But I think in Fearless, situations like this, you know, Azir, Galio, Yunara and Pantheon, one of them likely to get through, and I think that's okay to sort of let one of them go through. It's then banned for the rest of the series. If Dplus end up on red side more, I mean, they're going to have side selection less than Nongshim, as they obviously start the series without it. Takes away some of the pressure having to ban those throughout the series. With Wukong banned away though, that kind of puts pressure on them to ban away. It's difficult because you ban the Yunara because Wukong's not available to match into that.
Yeah.
But then if you leave Pantheon open, I guess you take Xin Zhao into it.
Jarvan has actually felt kind of okay into the Pantheon, but I do expect that will be that first pick opportunity here for Nongshim, unless they want the Rumble. And this is Kingin that we're talking about, right? So that is actually worth a question. However, they will lock in the Pantheon.
We've also seen what was quite popular was like this Gwen, Xin Zhao, Orianna topside, but Gwen did get some nerfs, so maybe you're not as keen on that. But I think like the Orianna, Xin Zhao, very popular as well. Orianna, Jarvan, also popular. So maybe a look towards that could be a thing. We've often seen Orianna banned away a moderate amount, I feel like, in the play-ins. So looks like they will put some priority towards that Orianna. You don't necessarily have to take the jungler here, though, obviously with the Pantheon taken away. So if you want to kind of keep your cards close to your chest, you could just take the jungler. They do go for the Jarvan. They don't want to commit to the top laner yet. And they will let Nongshim show their cards, confident that Shu can match on that third pick with whatever Nongshim commit to here.
Yeah, I think opting into counterpick rather than getting a strong blind such as the Rumble, like we were discussing earlier on, does put a little bit of pressure here on Kingin to make sure that his matchup is going to be okay, because there's always the looming Aurora pick that can shut down a lot of these options. But instead, Nongshim going to take a different tack as the Nico is locked away. I wouldn't even mind it if they just locked Corki and just said, we've got arguably the strongest bottom lane on the patch, and we are just going to win through there. And that's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, I also love the Corki specifically into the Jarvan, you know, just because Cataclysm, limited impact into that pick, ensuring you have that long-range carry who I think Corki's just been so good as you can slot into almost any composition, into any bot lane duo can work very well. So grabbing that early on, and obviously it means you don't have a mid to match the Orianna, you haven't picked up a top laner yet. But, you know, there's only so many bans Dplus can do before the next rotation. Securing your bot lane, Dplus feeling pretty good about that. The Rumble does come through, so, you know, this team fighting power already from Dplus, so much engaged potential, so much follow-up with the Rumble Equalizer, with the Orianna Shockwave. But that Corki, not the easiest target to stick onto. And now, Dplus going to ban away some of the picks that do well into the Rumble. The Ornn gets taken away. Likely going to see the Aurora as well.
Yeah, I can imagine like Ornn Aurora is what you get rid of. Gwen doesn't have as bad a time into the Rumble as a lot of other matchups, but I think still kind of gets cooked up there, so not going to be something that we're likely to see. The Alistar going to be taken away from Beryl. Does give them a lot of power, I guess, but I don't know whether you want to be playing Alistar into this lane. Yeah,
it's a rough lane, but I think just like the synergy with the Orianna is something they're respecting.
Maybe Rel has to be banned away on that line of thinking as well.
Yeah, I think Rakan is also good. I mean, I think Rel has just been such a good default for a lot of teams that they're willing to go for. I mean, maybe you give a ban towards 80 carries instead if you think there's enough engage options for the support. that you kind of like picking and choosing, like do we want to ban Rel, do we want to ban Rakan? You just end up putting a ban towards the 80 carries instead. Maybe something like Jhin could be a good ban in this situation. Able to follow up on that engage with the ult from a distance.
Yep.
And yeah, they take that one away.
As a anti-aiming Jhin enthusiast, I am actually quite happy as a DK enjoyer that this Jhin has been banned away. Let's see what he does decide to do. They can kind of go crazy here, like you could try to bully the lane with something like a Caitlyn. You can still outrange Corki, especially for the first 5 levels. But we will see what they do decide to go with. Sivir Karma is still there as an option, and then you use Jarvan for engage, and so they are going to lock away the Karma to start this one off, aiming, still holding his pick close to his chest.
I think, you know, of all the players, all the supports in the league, I think Karma's been one of the favorites for Beryl. So looking at that Sivir Karma, which obviously is a good lane matchup into the Neeko, and then the Akali comes out, which is a bit of a bold one.
It is technically one of these picks that I imagine the coaches have in their notebook good into Orianna.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether it's necessarily going to fit this composition all that well. We kind of knew that the Ambessa was going to come in as well. Does give them a lot of 1-3-1 side lane power here on Nongshim's side, but it makes their team fight kind of weird.
I mean, it's very dive-focused composition. You have multiple threats, you have to approach from multiple sides, and it's going to be tricky, I feel like, for Showmaker to play on the Orianna, but I think if you fall behind, it's going to be very hard, and it also means that Dplus here kind of feel a little bit better about taking that Karma first and leaving the 80 carry pick, because they decide, you know, even though Sivir has a spell shield, they'd much rather have the Ezreal who has that arcane shift in this situation. That extra mobility going to give them that extra level of safety, because they don't need like the hyper carry level of DPS from the Sivir. They just need an 80 carry who's going to survive.
They also now have one that spikes alongside the Corki relatively well. Obviously, Corki's just kind of busted at this point in time, but you hit 2 items at the same time, they're the same items. So you're kind of feeling all right, especially if you can get an accelerated situation in that lane. And Karma Ezreal can actually stand up to the Corki Neeko. We've seen that one work out in the past. So looking forward to seeing how this DK bottom lane is going to go. A lot of reliance in this draft on Lucid getting the engages to work out, and we'll see whether they can actually find those angles, because if that happens, equalizers, shockwaves, true shot barrage, all sorts of things will rip through Nongshim, but they do need to get their ducks in a row, and it's been a struggle for DK. Honestly,
I feel like now, with how the draft has played out, the Jarvan feels a little bit awkward, because who are you actually going to Cataclysm? Who are you actually going to be able to Cataclysm, and they're actually locked into it? It's like the Neeko? Is
Pantheon?
Pantheon, which doesn't feel that good.
Just don't walk to the edge.
Because he has like he has the shield, right, that blocks damage. So I feel like you're going to have to be playing a bit more of a peel role for your Orianna in a lot of situations, but still can engage if someone's isolated. We'll see how it plays out.
Yep, you can also try and put the Neeko in a cage, but let's see what happens as we get into the Rift.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, on to the Rift for game number 1 of this best of 5, the last of the play-ins, and the last of the Rise-vibed games. I think unless we get, like, and we will, I think we'll get one more Rise-vibed game, like KT's waiting. And let's be honest.
There's also, we got Rise teams in the playoffs, you know?
Well, yeah.
Already there.
I'm saying that, like, I feel like, so a Legend Group game still involved Nongshim versus T1 or Gen.G, for example, and they still felt like Legend games because that was the Legend team.
I know, but I'm saying, like, let's say Dplus go up to playoffs and they play against
KT, then we're fine.
Yeah.
I reckon. Know? Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Because even like sometimes if we get a battle of the Legend vibes against the
and there's
Rise
a lower
vibes,
bracket.
Yeah.
So maybe the lower bracket will have a few Rise vibed cultural matchups that we still get to enjoy.
That we can look forward to.
Just we're holding onto it. We're holding onto it. Maybe Worlds can have a bit of that Rise group flavor. I don't know. We're looking a bit further into the future here. But let's have a look at what's going to happen here in these lanes. Aiming and Beryl are pretty practiced on the Karma Ezreal. The amount of being practiced that Beryl has been, though, hasn't often dictated how his performance is going to go. So we'll just have to see how this one is going. So far, so good. as it did manage to land the first Mantra Q.
Yep, Lehen's getting some good poke back though. It's not a fun lane for the Nico. This is one of the things is that Nico obviously provides that engage that often pro teams love so much. But and you often have that ranged harass. So it's why she's been such a strong pick, because you play her into something like Alistar, you provide that team fight engage, you also just bully the Alistar out of lane. But when you're played against a pick like Karma, yeah, you don't win the ranged fight there. She really can just harass you out. She has the shields to avoid your poke. It's very hard to ever land a root in the Karma if she's playing well. You can use a shield to dodge away, use that movement speed.
You can also use the Mantra W to get all of your health back as well, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's one of the things with Karma. So the Mantra W in all-ins heals so much, and it often was punished by Ignite.
Yep.
But the thing is, no one runs Ignite in lane anymore, in pro.
We don't even have Unsealed Spellbook, so they will just never have it. Is Tempo Heal going to be employed here? Gio also going to be using the barrier, aiming, holding onto that one. Oh dear. That's not a lot of Karma victories. You know what? Beryl did lose his first game on this champion in that loss streak, as Calyx might just be dead. Showmaker holds onto his flash, says you can live, but just know that this is my lane.
Yeah, rough time for Calyx, and I feel like a lot of lanes for champions like Akali, you are treading a line of like, you're not having a fun time. You're getting bullied out, you're getting harassed. Speaking of bullied out.
Yeah, Beryl in a bit of trouble here. Still aiming, offering a lot of damage back, and Jiu doesn't have a lot of the blue stuff to try and fight this one. Aiming continuously, getting these Inspire shields as Gideon looking for an angle towards Showmaker. The flash does come on through with the backflip landed, and it's first blood over to Gideon. And Chelly kind of starting to get his wish.
Yep, huge gank there, huge timing from Gideon, manages to get the flash done. Not much you can do to outplay that with the point-and-click nature of it.
Oh, Tangle Gloves comes down as well, as Aiming could be in a lot of trouble. Has to use the barrier to avoid dying to a blooming burst.
Yeah, a lot of action coming out already, so much trading, and the point I was making about the Akalis, you kind of have to weather the storm in the early lane, just trying to sustain up with second wind, with Doran Shield. Obviously, Calyx took a bit too much damage, gets punished. But the gang setup helps him out so much in this situation. And now actually able to get some good trades back on a Showmaker.
Yeah.
You get level 6 first as well. It's so bad for the Orianna. Once the Shuriken hits, you're just dead. There's nothing you can do here. I actually think the right call would have been to hold the flash from Showmaker. Hard to fault him, really, for trying to flash away, but I think if you just held it, would have been in a much better position, because now flashless.
Yeah.
At level 6, you might end up just dying to maybe a gank from Hens, another gank from Gideon.
Maybe an all-in from Calyx as well, depending on whether he can find an angle.
Yeah, I think it's hindsighty to call it out, but that's kind of our job as casters, holding the flash.
Yep.
Could have put him in a better spot.
Or flashing earlier, theoretically, but you never really know. Probably still just able to get
I think
regardless.
The Panth would have still got to you, and with the Shuriken already on, you kind of just... Maybe flashing the Shuriken actually would have been the call.
Ooh, you can see Aiming continuing to go aggressive here as Beryl puts Gio on a leash, does get the Valkyrie out, so that's a lot of mana that he's forced to use. Does have his tier now put together, but Aiming has a cheeky extra longsword, and you can see the Ezreal feeling pretty good as a result of all of this movement. Level 6 now gained for Calyx, and he's beginning that all in. Finds a backflip, and there it is! The perfect execution comes down, but it's a 1-for-1 in the end. That's a kill back over to Lucid, though, so Calyx still going to have a fair bit of control in this lane, even if it's not necessarily dictated by the money. Beryl now going to be just trying to keep Lehens down. It's working out so far, but man, this game so far just feels ruthless.
Yeah, absolute bloodbath, 2-for-1 in kills at 6 minutes, pretty action-packed, but it's just the trading has been non-stop in this game so far. Speaking of which...
Yeah, there's the public execution now as Kingen doing a fair bit of work towards Jiu. We have a Pantheon coming down as well, so Jiu knows that he's dead, and he's just going to try and wander his way out. Flash, oh my god, that was so cute! I don't think it's going to work, but man, that was cute. He bought so much time. Look at all that time that he bought with that flash. Don't tell me what the hindsight would say, okay? Don't tell me about it.
Well, what I was going to say is you actually saw Lucid running down through the jungle, and I think he was just trying to buy as much time as possible, but Lucid kind of saw the situation and started to turn away and head towards mid, realized...
Bit of a nice try, buddy type situation.
Yeah, I'm not going to be there in time. Here's the solo kill, and I'm going to be honest, for Dplus, getting the counter kill from Lucid is about as good as you can hope from the situation, but this is seeing the impact. The level 6 hit first, the no flash from Showmaker, and Calix plays it perfectly, hits everything.
Yeah.
But the fact Lucid was there, I think you can't really ask for more given the situation that came from that initial play from Calix. But here, yeah, you can see on the minimap, Lucid's running over, but he's just a bit too far away. Which is the hindsight in this situation. Yeah. And Lucid's like, you know what, buddy? You're on your own.
Yeah.
Starts walking towards the Scuttle Crab.
He's like, are you okay, bot? And he's like, no. And he's like, all right. Goes to the Scuttle Crab. That's probably how it goes. Despite everything, aiming is so far ahead that DK is still up in gold, or even.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're getting a lot of heavy trades, and Nongshim were doing their best to mitigate it, but this Ezreal Karma, hard to play into. The Nico getting really punished, and it's a sizable lead. And I think especially when you're playing 280 carries who build the same initial 2 items, it feels really bad to be behind the curve. You know, because when there's that Triforce Mirror Mana coming out from aiming and you don't have that in return, it's going to feel very underwhelming for Jiwoo.
It's also like, it's 28 CS. It's massive numbers.
It's sizable.
Because like having a look down the line, right? Like he's a wave behind his jungler, theoretically, as far as those numbers are concerned. Yeah. And that is not necessarily what you want to see, as Lehens going to try and be a bit sneaky here. Count your minions, ladies and gentlemen. And the answer is they don't need to because they're not there. Grub's going to be taken here by DK. No one having a look at the Dragon just yet. Chemtech still just hanging around, being there for almost 4 minutes. Another public execution coming on down here as we're kind of getting sick of those. As the Equalizer just says, well, no, I would just prefer not to be laning at this point in time. And so that should mean that Gideon can go over towards the Drake. No Equalizer for DK to contest will make things a little bit more difficult, especially when the solo lanes are not where the power is.
Yeah, you saw from how Nongshim were posturing, they were maybe looking to set up a dive or something. Calix was waiting around, Gideon was nearby, but I think it was a good read from Shiwu, just hold the wave. Dragon's gone anyway. Chemtech Dragon being the first one, pretty valuable for Nongshim, given that it means they're not getting a Chemtech Soul. But I think Dplus pretty happy with the trade. Just to go 3 grubs for the Dragon and keep this pressure up in the top lane, especially getting those 3 grubs, given you have such an advantage already in this bot 2v2. You can see it ticking away, looking at a second plate going to come in soon. That bot lane lead is going to keep expanding at this rate.
Yeah, working out very well thus far. And they've also taken a couple of plates towards the top side of the map as well. That has contributed to just how far ahead aiming is. Like, it's almost 700. There's 0-0-0, guys. Like, this lead often is represented by, like, we had a good dive that worked out in the early game, or we did XYZ. This has just been the result of a lane swap and laning phase.
And I think as well, the fact that, you know, the solo lanes for Nongshim, Kingen has a lead from that gank, but even with the pressure that Calix has gotten, just by nature of the matchup, he's down in farm, so even though he got that gank, even though he got that solo kill, he's still actually down in gold in the matchup.
Oh, count your minions.
Showmaker.
Count your minions. As Showmaker did not count the minions.
Okay, that one's got to be a little sus. What is that minion doing? That minion just placed a control ward. I'm a little suspicious.
Yeah, I think he almost kind of had him there, but decides that he doesn't want to go for it.
You know what it is? Lehens didn't have flash. It's about to come up. I think if he had flash, he probably would have just gone for it.
Yeah, probably could have worked. As Jiu now going to get told that he's not allowed in the lane. And that is the case. And it kind of feels like it's been the case for a while. As we're going to crash this one in once again. DK going to be able to employ these grubs to take yet another plate. These Mystic Shots also finding the mark as well.
I will say, at least the Corki has a good amount of wave clear to sort of help out with this. But yeah, they're definitely in a rough spot. And Gideon now showing bot lane.
Okay, Calix was roaming up towards the top side. He's going to spot Lucid here as he does backflip away from him. And it may not be enough to kind of save this Nongshim bottom lane. Like you were saying, wave clear going to be there, so they do get rid of the minions. Another one conga lining through. But Lucid being patient here. Oh dear. Okay, so Gio is going to spot him out. But I just don't know. Does this help? Are they going to be okay? Well, there's the Cataclysm. Does manage to knock up Lehens, but it's just yeah, just sending a message, I guess.
Yeah, they were trying to force the ult from Lehens. That was the game plan then. Get Lehens to ult, flag and drag out, force that resource, and then maybe look for something more. But Lehens holds his nerve. He just uses the heal. He kind of senses what was the attempt from Lucid's play, and they kind of mitigate that pretty well. It was always going to be a bit of a delicate dive, especially since even though the Pantheon wasn't there, his ult, actually his ult was down, so...
oh, yeah, not going to happen. That was what he used on the bottom side of the map.
Ah, I see. Well, I guess it wasn't as much of a concern that the Pantheon was going to ult, but
yeah.
Bit of a delicate dive, I guess, with the Pop Blossom, so they were trying to force that out. But yeah, I think the patience from the Lehens not getting baited in by the Cataclysm, pretty good read on the situation.
Showmaker's done a decent job, just kind of being fine in this matchup. Now has that flashback up, so is out of the woods quite a bit. You can see Kingen still kind of ruling the lane towards the top side of the map, but we've seen in a lot of games that Nongshim haven't been able to win. Kingen's still been great.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's just really good.
I think as well, we're getting this Orianna build, the Rod of Ages into Seraphs, where...
It's not my favorite.
I mean, it's not mine, but I think specifically into this Nongshim composition, you're a bruiser. You have
just
so
being tanky.
much effective HP. And if you think about Nongshim's comp, they are all about kill thresholds. They are all about, we have this much damage to kill these targets, and once we run out of damage...
We don't have damage.
What do we do? So I think this build, even though it's a bit slow to get started compared to some others, I think it's going to do a lot of favors to Dplus once they get to the point of the game where Showmaker's online. Because if Calyx uses all of his buttons and Showmaker still has 1,000 health left, the team fight's not going to be in a good spot.
Man, okay, so I got a fun one. What if he went Rod of Ages, Seraphs, Riftmaker, Liandry's? Add a bit of health to like everything.
Don't pitch this to Chovy. But he doesn't have grasp, you know?
Oh, that's true. Next time take grasp. That being said, movement speed is king, so I'm okay with the phase rush as well. That's totally fine. As Beryl and aiming, possibly under a little bit of threat here.
Yeah, we do see that minion again, that cheeky minion turning up mid lane. Lehens keeps trying to find something on Showmaker. But
sometimes you've just gotta put the fear in them, you know?
Yeah.
As the Drake has now showed up, aiming is just slaughtering these turrets though.
Triple grab's gone a long way.
Yeah, and also Trinity Force advantage just means that this Corki does practically nothing, and aiming is feeling fantastic on this first item spike.
It's big there as well, but also Beryl has Redemption finished, which is honestly such a huge spike. We've seen how much value teams have gotten off this early Redemption, but in a skirmish, when teams just don't have that much damage, sitting on one or less than one item spikes, definitely can get a lot of value from the Redemption. So much poke already coming down.
Lucid looking for a little bit of an angle here, perhaps, but they do clear out the wave once again.
I think this level of pressure, they might be able to start the Dragon up.
Yeah, they also do manage to get Lehens to back away, and they stop the back of Geo at the same time. This wave is going to come through, so that is going to be first turret going over to DK. Not a whole lot that Nongshim can do about it. And Lucid going to take his opportunity to head over and grab this Dragon as well, catching them on a reset. Gideon going to be moving towards the top side to see whether or not he can maybe put pressure on this Herald. The Crab is there, but he decides instead he is once again going to try and kill this Rumble. The Equalizer gets a lot of value, but unfortunately not quite enough, as the Redemption came through exceedingly late.
Yeah, Beryl was trying to get in range for that one. Wasn't quite there in time. I think a good pickup from Gideon, just to grab that kill with the ultimate, slide in. He is pretty low now, though. And Shield doesn't have TP though, and this does go down pretty quick, so I think they should be able to get this and get out.
Yeah, they're going to do a lot of damage, yeah. Beryl is just caught napping. They did just have vision.
Yeah.
He did know.
I don't think Beryl got the memo.
What? No, he did get the memo. He got the memo. He ignored the memo.
Oh, right.
You know, because sometimes it's about which... This memo as well is, that would have been a good one for aiming to get, but the Cataclysm comes down. Kingen has to flash. Dash not quite enough there as he gets a nice little knock-up. Still, Nongshim getting a lot out of DK here. Double summoners out of the Ezreal is a huge thing because he is 900 gold in the lead, the largest in the game thus far, but that is actually starting to get eclipsed here by Gideon's advantage in the jungle. 2-0-2 now as Calyx has found Shiu, and perfect execution. If that one had landed,
that was a kill.
That backflip, that was a dead Rumble Instead, he might actually just be able to clear out this wave and be okay.
Yeah, I mean, the early R2 was used, so not as much execute damage, but was trying to set up for the shuriken, doesn't connect. Here, this was such an easy play. The slow means Gideon takes a lot of damage on the back end, but the redemption is just so late. Unfortunately, he wasn't in range. And here, I don't know what you expected.
This is what I think. I think there was one outcome.
Yeah. Well, we got it.
Yep.
And I think Nongshim, considering there was a lot of pressure, but first tower was picked up by Dplus. They got the dragon. It felt like the pressure from Dplus was used well to get the objective, but then Nongshim immediately make a play on the other side, and Dplus just kind of crumble. It feels like Nongshim made a quick adaptation and get everything they really wanted on the opposite side of the map. A bit of a blunder, I feel like, from Dplus there.
Yeah, has been a little bit of a strategy that the opponents of DK have been employing, and that is kind of just bully Xiu in these games. And sometimes it just does work. Sometimes he just isn't able to get very much done. And we're seeing 1-0-2 on Kingin and 2-0-2 here for the Pantheon, who is in a very good spot. And now going to get a crash onto this outer turret in the mid lane. That is going to go down very, very low as Calyx is moving over. Gideon goes in, but there's the public execution. Pop Blossom connects on everyone, and down goes aiming. The equalizer is in. It's a lot of AoE, as now Xiu looking for Geo on the side, and the Cataclysm's going to lock him up. Now Lucid trying to get himself out of there. Xiu is just a monster, and he burns King into the ground. That one felt personal, ladies and gentlemen, as DK fight back.
DK with a huge fight turnaround. Calyx going to try and defend here.
Yep, spooky fog on the ground. And is going to be able to just clear out the wave. Very nicely done. So they're not going to be able to take a turret, but still, DK showing that they're not out of the fight and actually claim a gold lead.
Yeah, they end up using so many tools. They catch aiming, but take so much damage in the return. It's a huge pop blossom. It looks fantastic, but then the equalizer gets so much damage.
Hit 4.
It was massive. This combo from the solo laners of Dplus doing so much damage, and there's no more gas in the tank. They kill the AD carry, but they didn't have any more tools to finish off the rest of the targets, and they just start moving forwards, taking down more and more. Showmaker, it was kind of that thing we were talking about before. With these items he has.
I saw his health bar. I'm like, if he didn't have those items, he would be dead.
Yeah, but he has that extra HP available, and there just wasn't a threat to finish him off. In fact, he walked forwards, and he was kind of like, I want more kills, so I'm going to run past like the target in front of me to try and soak more, and like Pantheon stunned him, and he just didn't care.
It's looking pretty scary here for Nongshim. However,
it's still so close.
They also have more than 0 petals, which is better than the last game yesterday, where we did get the unprecedented 33-0.
I wonder if that's something, as a coach, you say to your players, you're like, guys,
don't get infinite percent petaled.
Yeah,
please.
They're
just
good.
Pick a flower or two. And as we saw just there, Showmaker just did.
You know what's the thing? Is that the more petals you have, the less they're worth, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
They actually go down. So when you have 0, the big petals, maximum value. Like the big flowers.
Yeah.
And I just can't believe that they'll have seen one and just ignored it. Mind-blowing to me.
No, it's kind of offensive is what it sort of feels.
It hurts me personally, as the sort of person who will,
I mean, you get upset about cinders not being picked up.
Yes, I'll see like 3 cinders, there'll be a team fight happening, I'll be like, there's like 4 cinders over there, you know?
Yeah. Why are you fighting? Well, Kingin going to face check here, as he's not necessarily one to be too worried about the job, and however, Beryl is going to put him on a leash, and even with all the shields, he's still going to go down. Gideon going to be put into the Cataclysm as well, and one after the other, Nongshim are falling apart.
And this is kind of what happens when Nongshim don't get that clean engage. 2 members just caught out by Dplus.
Calyx is doing some good farming in the top lane though.
He is, but not there for the fight, not coordinating. A second dragon picked up for Dplus, and now building up a bit of a goldie. They should just be able to take the Arakan here as well.
Oh man, that's feats of strength first up, and then the Arakan to follow immediately afterwards.
For a game that was so close, now it feels like they're just consolidating all these advantages. And suddenly it's a big swing in favor of Dplus.
The insane thing is that Xiu has a gold lead.
There's a tower right there.
And the Arakan is now gone, and there's a tower, and they're teleporting it. Well, the Hens was on the flank, But he's not anymore. Pop Blossom is going to connect onto Lucid. Let's see whether that is going to be able to do anything, and the answer is no, as aiming kind of a one-man wrecking crew right now as King in behind the turret, but that was desperation, and I don't know what they were trying to achieve.
I think if the tower was down, I could see that being like, let's get them on the exit, finish them off, but the tower wasn't down, and that just completely changes the dynamic of that play, and you said it yourself, it felt desperate. This was just King overextended, Gideon, you know, we talked about who would you Cataclysm in this team comp, and yeah, it's the Pantheon, no way to get out. A lot of other mobile targets with Pantheon, he's just kind of trapped in there. And then the play afterwards just very weird, because the tower was there for them to retreat to, and there wasn't really any way to kind of keep them locked into the fight. Yeah. And now Dplus, it's only a 1,600 gold lead, but they got the Adakan, they got the feats of strength, they got such a big advantage from that last fight. And now you look at some of the items coming through, we have that spike from aiming, we have a Seeker's Arm Guard, level 16 from Showmaker. 16. He's 2 levels up from Calyx because he got the Rod of Ages coming through.
Not to mention 25 to 6 in the pedal value.
Oh man.
It's kind of ridiculous. And yeah, Showmaker can now just hang out in this side lane. He's not even worried about the Akali assassinating him because he's got an Arm Guard, so much health, and isn't too worried. Even aiming's health bar is looking kind of intimidating here, but still has yet to finish off his third item. Going to be wandering towards Gio and Lehens here for now. Through Shot Barrage. That's a lot of damage, and now Lucid thinks that it's possibly his opportunity. And this is just the turret going down. 3 grubs going to make sure that that is going to happen as Gio, he got the memo. He was standing so far back, but still the public execution going to come on through. Gideon takes a lot of damage as Gio didn't have an arm guard. He's not dead! And Showmaker's able to turn up, and the barrel redemption! As he lands at this time to pick up the kill.
That one wasn't too late. Shivu survives. Showmaker comes in. Beryl comes in with the clutch redemption. And Nongshim, when that play fails, it feels so bad. Trying to make something happen, trying to find any angle back in. And it's just more gold for Dplus now. Aiming, looking for Jiwoo.
Yeah, it gets sped up. If
that damage.
That's a lot. Jude just gonna have to walk away. This inner turret now under fire, and this game it just feels over. The tempo vibe's overwhelming here on the DK side.
Absolutely are.
And I think as soon as that play doesn't work against you, I think you're packing it up.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, they had to overextend so far from him. He was playing so far back, made the right call.
This is not something that you would have done in the earlier weeks, right?
Yep.
And him being able to play that defensively and understand where his safety limit was, that's very impressive. Also, the character development of Beryl, being able to snipe with a redemption.
I love the fact that Showmaker definitely could have gotten that kill.
Oh, yeah.
But Beryl, he knew he deserved that kill.
He did. I need to petition to change the name of the item, though, because redemption just doesn't sound right.
Yeah, it does sound a little...
Feels a bit wrong.
Is there another word for redemption?
No. They're probably it. I mean, I could open a thesaurus. Let's thesaurus this out. See what. See if I can get some redemption for the redemption.
Yeah, you do need some redemption on this.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of people in chat telling me that there's a lot of words that I should be using instead of redemption.
It's I honestly, off the top of my head, can't think of any.
Yeah. All right, we're bringing it up. Saving. Vindication?
Oh,
that's perfect.
That would have been so good.
Oh, no.
Oh, we've missed a mark there.
Yeah, they're also saying repurchased. However, it's the wrong version of the redemption, because if you redeem something, like redeem a code, for example, in the Riot store to get yourself a new emote, perhaps you can redeem.
Beryl knows a lot about that sort of redemption, I'll tell you that much. But,
Absolution kind of works as well, but it's not really the same word.
Yeah.
Save, I think, is technically it. I think Vindication is kind of the only one.
Vindication's spawn. Yeah. I think, once you said that, we didn't need to go further, but yeah.
I think I'm just going to go with redemption. I think I'm okay with locking it in.
I think Vindication is the one for me, but their dragon fight being set up. Calyx being zoned out a bit here.
Lehens is a lonely minion.
What's that minion doing there?
Well, getting some wards down by the looks of things is Gio. Oh man, True Shot Barrage going to be avoided there, but the Valkyrie is going to be used. Beryl going to take the Akali for a walk as aiming. Now going to find him. My God, the damage. He goes golden as Lahens feels like he may have found the angle. We'll see whether he has as Calyx goes into the Shroud. Perfect execution to take down aiming as Calyx gets back to the Shroud and then just gets unceremoniously burnt to death by Shio on the drive-by. Beryl also somehow surviving, and you know things are going wrong when Beryl is unable to die in a fight. As now Kingen trying to dash his way out. That's a decent stun though, as the equalizer comes through, but not really doing too much. As Shio gonna have to flash to get out of the way of Kingen, and Showmaker, the raid boss himself, is going to show up, and Shio does not stand a chance. And at this point, they're just kind of making fools of them.
I think Nongshim played that fight so wrong. I think they had such a rough read on what to do because I think it was honestly winnable. Showmaker just stood in the middle, and if you actually look how it played out, they spent too much time chasing low HP targets. So Calyx, Beryl walks in kind of like a psycho on this Akali. It's a good setup from Lahens that punishes aiming, and they kill the AD carry. But you kind of look at the gist of how things play out because Beryl ends up low. They initially go on him, and then it kind of feels like they're just chasing Beryl this whole time. Like Kingen's kind of running towards Beryl. Showmaker's just doing his own thing. Kingen feels like he's kind of chasing towards him. Jiwoo, again, feels like he's kind of chasing towards him. And I feel like they should have just focused on the targets. Again, Jiwoo's flashing for Lucid.
Oh no.
Just, you need to kill the targets who are relevant. You're flashing for Lucid when he's out of the fight. And it just feels like so much focus was a bit too much on killing the low health targets instead of dealing with the ones who are still relevant in the fight. And you end up in a scenario where everyone is low HP and you lose the fight rather than just, you know, dealing with the threats who are still there.
Yeah. Get the control of the map that's given to you. Don't try to force the 300 gold.
I think they were so worried about people being low HP and getting away that everyone ended up low HP and getting away.
Yeah. And it was good aggro control on the other side for DK, you know, understanding, oh, I'm the target now, get me the heck out of there, you know? As now DK looking for another engage angle as Lahens is going to find the Pop Blossom, but the Cataclysm going to hold him in place. And aiming does get assassinated once again. And Shio trying to do what he can as well on the other side. Nongshim actually finding a lot of power here as Lucid and Showmaker, the sort of last bastion of hope on the DK side. And fortunately for DK, that is going to be enough for them to still take control. However, 3 for 2. You'll take those if you're Nongshim.
Absolutely. I'll say, though, the existence of Showmaker is just such a problem for Nongshim. We see Calyx getting a ton of value here. The engage is great onto aiming, but they're not able to immediately take him out. But Calyx finds this angle, deletes the Ezreal, then follows up and takes out Beryl. 2 quick kills as the Rumble gets taken out. But Showmaker, so tanky, so hard to deal with. Constant rotations of abilities. He is the problem right now. If Showmaker didn't exist, I think Nongshim could clean up pretty comfortably. With this Orianna is wreaking havoc and is about to hit a Rabadons as well.
Oh my goodness, that is going to be a lot of damage. And now, he just gets to hang out with Lucid as well. And so whoever Lucid Cataclysms, it's not just, oh, but I have an escape to get out. You try and Valkyrie, the Shockwave will still pull you back.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see what DK can do. It looks like the Baron is going to be on the minds of them for now. 2.5 minutes on the Ocean Soul as well. And if you thought the DK members were getting away with low health, well, now they're going to get away with low health and then be on high health immediately afterwards.
Oh, man. I mean, Ocean Soul obviously not looked at as the strongest soul, but in a game like this where you are very bursty, it's going to make things really difficult. If you don't finish off those targets, the value you'll get over the course of the fight can be massive. It means that you have to be so crisp for Nongshim, even more so than you already had to be with this deficit, with how your comp plays out.
And, man, I want to... Okay, Lucid is going to take a Tangle Barb series. Pretty tanky, but not that tanky. Down to 50% at this point in time. Nongshim getting some decent damage onto the jungler is going to be important. Tangle Barb's barely missing onto aiming here as Grand Starfall comes in, getting him pretty far ahead of his team, but they have the public execution. Aiming flashes away, though. He's got the shielding, and it's the 2-man Shockwave here as well to keep Nongshim at bay. Lucid now looking for that angle, finds an equalizer from downtown. Jiu has one of his own. He gets to throw out, and that is going to get them to safety. DK still on the prowl, though, looking for an opportunity as Beryl going to take Lahens for a walk. Does get the snare, and now aiming able to follow up really nicely still. Lucid goes way too far forward.
Oh, the Akali's on the flank.
Yeah. So there's a few buttons on cooldown, I guess. But the perfect execution is still there for Calyx, and they have to wait 38 seconds for Lucid to wander his way back.
Yeah, Calyx was waiting to find someone, sees it Showmaker, not interested, you know,
Yeah.
he's just out of there. But now, TPing and seeing if maybe with a jungler down they can set up for something.
And what I was going to talk about before there was like action, it was very rudely interrupted. You remember back to like their first best of 5 in the play-ins.
Yep.
Showmaker had 1 assist by like 20 minutes into the game, in a game that had a whole bunch of kills. This time, 100% kill contribution on this Akali.
Oh, they got him!
As I say it, he is going to get picked off. Does go into stasis here, but I don't think he's getting out. There it is. It's Gideon that locks down the kill and may have stopped the Baron because Lucid has made his way back, but still, that is a huge shutdown the Nongshim have been able to pick up. Now 12-13 is the kill score as well. The gold is under 1,000 at 32 minutes into this game.
Yeah, raid boss down at this point. With Dragon up in 10 seconds, they're resetting, getting some health back. This is a pretty ambitious angle. I think the problem here was they committed so deep and the Akali wasn't in position to follow up. The Akali's representing so much of that damage. Calyx finally gets there, the shockwave has come in, they have to back off, but I'm not sure we're going to get time to watch all this because the teams are setting up now for the Dragon.
Yep, Lahan's looking for a Pop Blossom. Arcane Shift does get aiming out of dodge, but Beryl is still going to be dead. Cataclysm comes through though, and aiming is free hitting. Even the Mystic shots in the Shroud are landing as aiming full health still. And Nongshim gonna have to try and limp their way out.
5 seconds on Showmaker with TP.
Yep,
and soul for Dplus.
And Dplus are in their comfort zone. Beryl is dead. That's what they're used to. And he also managed to take Lahan's with him, which is why it's okay. Showmaker is going to turn up. The teleport going to come in. Level 16 for the Ezreal at the same time. But Calyx has also teleported his way towards his bottom side. But this Ocean Soul, it's going down very, very low. Kingen trying to deal with aiming, but he's just not able to. They've got vision. Public execution just to get him out of the way of the Ezreal. As one lone Ocean Dragon is going to be picked up. Shiu goes golden as well. As the Shockwave doesn't do too much. Still Gideon taking so much damage. Aiming and Showmaker both still alive. Shiu not so much. And down they all go. Calyx is still there. Lahan's has indeed respawned. But I just don't know whether Calyx can be the kind of hero they need right now. He's going to need to do something absolutely unbelievable. Disappearing is normally pretty cool, but they need a little more than that.
Yeah, unfortunately for Nongshim, with those extra deaths, it does mean Dplus able to get the Baron. As you said, they just picked up a second Dragon, not really that meaningful. They deny the soul, not a big boon for them, and Dplus will be able to pick up the Purple Worm and be able to get a big gold advantage, and now going to be able to look to Siege.
And this is something that Dplus were never really good at, like prioritizing as a team. And that's what they did in this split second. They're like, no, we want the kills, we want the picks, so that we can guarantee Baron. Dragon is meaningless.
Yeah.
This is just really good preparation from this team.
Yeah, here's the thing. The fact they didn't catch aiming here, didn't even have to flash. This is why they prioritized that Ezreal, able to get away from the situation, is to trade for supports. And then here, in this ensuing fight, Kingen gets caught out, so they collapse onto him. It does mean they give up pressure on the Dragon.
My God, if that Mystic Shot had landed, maybe Kingen was just dead there.
Yeah. And what ends up happening is Nongshim like, okay, we'll trade tops, it's fine. But the stasis from Shiwu, so much value here. The flash from Lucid to redirect the Shockwave, and then the cleanup ends up coming in. Shiwu's just trying to do as much damage as he can.
It could have been worse as well. That Shockwave could have actually caught the Corki as well. He managed to get that Valkyrie to get his way out, but my goodness, it was almost like a best-case scenario situation.
This feels still like such an uphill battle right now, and the sieging is going to be so hard to deal with for Nongshim, with so many picks like Akali, Pantheon don't really function well defending against the siege. They really need to find an angle to engage to stop their structures just being destroyed.
Yeah, just melting. Gio has made it to 4 items somehow. As Lucid, that's a Cataclysm. Lahan's is just dead. All right, that's what you do, I guess, when you finish the Rabadon's Death Cap on your Orianna. You just throw your Jarvan at him.
Yeah, and Lahan's had Flash. Wanted to save it. Didn't want to have to burn that powerful engage tool defensively.
Well, public execution coming on down here, but Kingen spends some time in the sky and regrets his decision. Calyx looking for an opportunity, though. As Showmaker, he is not afraid. This time going golden at the right time, and this time his team is there to defend. He will go down, but he'll take that for a Nexus trade any day of the week. As DK, it was a long one. It was a slog, but they're still able to take game number 1 in this best of 5 series up against Nongshim. Calyx, pretty heroic in this game, I have to say, but it wasn't, unfortunately, enough.
Both mid laners putting in such an effort to carry that game. At the end of the day, Showmaker was just a raid boss there, doing so much damage